All right, guys, good afternoon and welcome to today's class. And then we've been dealing with date values. This time around, we're moving straight up to our time values. We want to see how to deal with time values. And without further ado, let's just move to what we have here. Remember, you have a template of this. So make sure to do along and then make sure you follow through. Whatever I'm doing on the screen, do the same thing so that you can be on the same page. All right. Now let's move. Now this is time already. We know what time is. I don't have to talk about that much. We're given a particular time, and the time is 5:30 a.m. in the morning. And then how do we get our time in serial format? Remember, in serial format, let me remove this. I'll simply say equals to, I'm looking for this time. So in serial format, if I go to the general format here, select this, and it comes to this, the serial format. Now, the reason why I always like to show you time in serial format is this, that you can use the serial format to hide information. Maybe you're hiding your time. Okay, that's one. Or two, maybe you copied information. You copied values from somewhere and pasted it on Excel. And then they appear like this. What do? You see how to convert this serial format. Whenever you see something like this, it could be time in serial format. It could also be date. But for now, we're talking about time. So this time is in serial format. What do we do with such time? We can convert it to a normal time format now. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to use my equal to sign, and then I'm trying to like copy this one, or I'm trying to like reference that particular cell, and I want to bring it in time format. So what do? I come here, simply, I come under my number panel. On the drop down, I select my time, and that's it, time format, and it comes out for us. All right. Okay, let's say it was still in the general format. What do? We simply come here, select it, and then come down to our time format and select it, and it gives us, it's now clear. Okay, so this was actually a time. Okay, now the time is what, 5:30 a.m. Now, there are different ways where we can format our time to give it whatever formatting style we want now. So that's where we deal with the format dialog cell box. So we can go to the format dialog cell box. Either you come here, this drop down, and let me begin. Where we have the number panel. On the drop down here, you come to more number format. The more number format is going to bring out the different cell format dialog box we can deal with. So here we can decide to say, okay, we just want we come to time here. We want our time to be in this particular format. We want the hours and the minutes. We can also want it like this, as you can see. And that's like a 24-hour time. We can do it this way. Any of the time format that you want, you can choose from. Then you'll be good to go. So I can choose this. All right. There's also the time format in English. You have English, I have the UK time format. You see, the time format differs now. All right, so I'm just showing you for information's sake. Let's see, maintain our English. And then I'm going to be using this hour and then minute formats. That's okay for us. I choose okay. So like I was trying to show you, what I'm trying to say is this, that you can use the format cell dialog box to select your time format in whatever way you deem it fit, in whatever way you want it to be. Now let's talk about the time value function. Let's do it. It's equals to time value. We select it, and then the time value, all right, in text format, let's say this, 5:30. Okay, time value in text format. Now, what is it going to return? It's going to return the serial number, all right, of that time. All right, so it's when we're using the time value function, the time value function will pick a text value, all right, time in text. That's why we're having this quotation. This is string. This is string here. So this 5:30 will be converted toward time value. All right, will be converted to a serial format. Now that it's on serial format, you can simply move down and then change it to, let's say, time format. You see, it has turned back toward time. Remember that originally it was a text. So the time format, the time value will pick a text string that represents a time and then convert it toward a serial number. All right. And then that serial number like this. You can then again reconvert it to the time format like this so that you can easily read it and then understand what you're doing. But for the sake of this, I'm going to allow it at what it is, at the serial format. All right. Okay. Now, like I'm not wasting time. It's very, very straightforward. The next thing we're going to be dealing with is to find the time right now. You want to know what is the time right now. What's the time right now? So we are going to be finding time based on the time in your computer. Based on Excel works with the time on your system. So if your system time is not correct, whatever time your system is saying, that's the time that Excel is going to return. So what do? We say equals to now, the now function, double click, close the bracket and enter. It returns the time of my system. The time of my system, as you can see, is 1:35. All right, 1:35 p.m. So it's the same thing here. So the time right now is 1:35 p.m. Just like if you're looking for today's date, say equals to today function, open bracket, close bracket, it will return today's date. I think that's very self-explanatory. We're going to move on. All right. The next thing we're going to be looking at is obtaining time from hour, minute, and second. Obtaining time from hour, minute, and second. All right. So say given you're given this hour, 9 hours, 55 minutes, 39 seconds. How do you get the time from that? So what you do here is simply equals to time. Now, so we have the hour. You select your hour here. The hour should come first, and a minute, and a second. And the time is what? 9:55 a.m. All right, let's try another example. I'm going to given an hour. Let's say we've been given hour. Say we're given 4 hours. Hour 4, 34 minutes, then 55 seconds. How do we find that? What's the time now? So remember, we can copy. We are copying the formula from the first one here, Control C, and then we paste it. So the time is 4:34 a.m. All right, another way I can do that is to simply use my fill. I'm going to drag whatever we have there. I drag it down. I'm dragging the formula there. Yes, and that's very straightforward and very explanatory. All right. Okay, so that's it. Let's move to the next one. The next one is extracting hour, minutes, and second from time. So this time around, you've been given time. All right, you've been given time. How do you get the hour, the minute, and the second from the time you've been given? So in an example here, we have time to be 9:55 a.m. So what's the hour there? Say equals to hour, all right? And you select the time and you enter, it returns the hour for you. And then say for the minute, now you say equals to minutes, minutes, all right? Select the time, then enter 55 minutes. Then about the second, say equals to second, pick the time, and okay, 39 seconds. All right, so that's how it goes. Now that's very straightforward and very, very straightforward. Okay, let me do something else. Let's say the time is 8:45. Okay, 8:45. And I decide to come here, it's customized. Let me come down here and then I look for, okay, I'm using this format. I can see, okay, coming down here using my format cell option. I'm looking at to give my time a different format. All right, I want like this format, and I say, okay, 8:45 is so good. I can still find my hour from that. Of course, equals to hour. Then we select it and we okay. We go with that. I'm not going to go that way again. I'm just simply going to drag it down. I'm sure I drag both of them. By now I understand that you know what I'm trying to do. I bring them down both. All right. So what I'm doing here is to copy the formula. The second here, the formula that has second here is what I'm dragging down here. This formula has minute here. I'm dragging out. And then we have 8 hour. Hour is 8. The minute is 45. And then the second is 0. All right, so we move. The next one now, this is very, very important. And I would like for us to really pay attention to this. Calculating time difference with text function. Calculating time difference with text function. Calculating time difference. I'm telling you, this one is very, very interesting. And I'd like for you to really open your eyes and then try to practice along, because this one is very, very cool now. So we're getting into something a bit more dramatic, and then let's see how to roll. So you have 2 times. You have the start time, you have the end time. Now you want to tell, you're using the text function to tell the hour. All right. Let's deal with the hours first. Then we'll talk about the hours and minutes. Then we talk about the hours, minutes, and seconds. We are using the text function here. So what are we trying to do? For the hour part, let's check it out. Equals to, okay, text. And then I'm going to be looking at, what am I going to do here? This particular, the end time minus the start time, okay? This is the end time. You want to find the difference between the hours. I select this end time, okay, minus the start time, okay? Then I want to return it in hour. So check it out, comma, then quotation mark, then H, yeah, H stands for hour. Then I close the quotation mark, and I close bracket, I enter. What happens here is 0 hours. The number of hours that we have between 9:40, 9:30, and 9:40 is 0 hours. Now it's not up to an hour. Okay? All right, it's not up to an hour. Let's try about hours and minutes. Let's try. We want to check the difference between the 2 times now. So the first one we were dealing with is the hour. So between 9:30, 9 hours, 30 minutes, 15 seconds, and about 40 minutes and 0 seconds. So we see that it's not up to an hour. So let's say we're writing an exam now, okay? So the person we started by 9:30, we ended by 9:40. What's the difference in hours now? 0 hours. Okay, let's look at the hours and minutes now. Okay, so we do the same thing again. Check it out. It's equals to text like this. Okay, text. And what's the value here? The value would be the end time, this, minus the start time, this. Okay, open my comma, sorry. Then look at the format I'm going to be using. How to format the text, the text format. The format text is this. I open my quotation, hour, all right, semicolon, minute, close it, close the quotation, the bracket, and enter. You see that we have how many minutes here? We have the difference between the hours and minutes. Okay, all right, 9:30. Okay, so we're correct. So we see that we have about 9 minutes between this 9:40, 9:30 and 9:40 is about 9 minutes. So 09 here, as you can see, is 9 minutes. Okay, that's very straightforward. Okay, how about the seconds? Now let's look at the second. So the same thing. So we are now going to be looking at the hour, minute, and second. So this phone return the hour to be 0 hours and then 0.9 minutes. So this is hours and minutes. Now let's look at hour, minute, and second. So what are we going to do? The same thing again, equals to text. Double click on this, the end time minus the start time, comma. All right, this time around, my quotation is up, hour as a format text, my format text, semicolon, minutes, semicolon, seconds. Close it, and I close my bracket and enter. So you can tell that we have 0 hour, 9 minutes, 45 seconds. Very interesting, isn't it? So that's how to calculate difference between 2 times, calculating time difference with text function. So we're using text function this time around for this assignment. And it's quite very easy. And I know that as you try to practice along, you're going to see, and then how seamless and how effortless that looks. And then it's beautiful, I must say, it's beautiful. Okay, so we can do that for this one. Should I go about it all over again? Should I go? Okay, maybe I should. Is there any point? I know you know what I'm doing. So I'll simply drag this one down. Voila. So we can tell that between 10:15, 10:40 a.m. and 5:00 hours 30 minutes p.m. that we have 6 hours there. And then you know what I'm doing now. I'm simply dragging the formula from here down. So you can tell that here we have 6 hours 44 minutes. And then how about the hour minute second? I'm going to drag this one down here. And I drag it down like so. And then we have 6 hours 44 minutes 50 seconds. All right, for this one, this particular one, 9:50 a.m. and 11:23 a.m. We have how many hours? 1 hour. That's if we're looking at hours alone. Looking at hours and minutes, we have 1 hour 33 minutes, and then hour minute and second, we have 1 hour 33 minutes and 0 seconds. I think that's very, very self-explanatory, very, very effortless, and very, very cool. So I think we can move to the next one now. Calculating time difference with text function is what we just finished. We're going to move to the next very interesting, cool thing we can achieve with time. Now, this time around, we're going to be finding difference in one time unit, ignoring others. Now, we're looking at finding difference in one time unit and ignoring others. Now, we have the start time here again. Also, we have the end time. This time we have the hours, we have the minutes, we have the seconds. We have hour, minute, second. For the last one we did, all right, we were looking at hours alone. The format was, we are using text format, so we have hours, and then we have hours and minutes, then we have hours, minutes, and seconds. This time around, we want them to just stand on their own, so we are ignoring them. So we are looking at the time difference, and then we're looking at them, hours, minutes, seconds. So normally I'm going to erase what we have here. This is quite very straightforward and very simple as well, and I hope you follow along easily. So we're looking at difference in one time, ignoring others now. So we're looking at difference in hour, difference in minutes, difference in second. So between those two. Okay, so for the hours, it's very straightforward. I would say equals to, normally again, the end time, 17:30. Sorry, I would say hour first. Hour. You see, I'm using the hour as a function here. Hour, the end time, minus the start time. Very simple and straightforward. We can tell that we had 7 hours between those times here. Okay, how about the minute? Your guess is correct. Equals to minutes. Okay, and double click here. End time minus start time. Then, okay, 29 minutes. Okay, how about the second? Equals to, I know you know it, second. Double click on this. The end time minus start time, enter, so 30 seconds. So we can tell that between, for what we have here, between 10, all right, 10 and then 17:30, the end time, we have 7 hours, 29 minutes, 30 seconds. Now, what's different between this and this? This one, we're using the text value function. All right, we're using the text value function. So that's how we achieve that text value function, as you can see in the formula bar here. But while this one, you're using the hour function, the minute function, and the second function. Let them stand alone. So this one, we're using a text, this is a format, like a text format. So we can put what our outcome comes in the format, like 0 and all of that. I know you know what I'm trying to say. But this one, we are just bringing out the hours alone. We are extracting all the hours between the two times, the end and the start time, and then the minutes, and then the seconds. So let me do it again for this particular one. Now, to look at the difference in hours between 8:10 and 21:30, what am I going to do? I'll say equals to hours, our double click here, the end time, of course, minus the start time, and then I enter 13 hours between both. For the minute already, you know what to do. It's equals to minute, and then end time as usual, minus the start time, and I enter that 90 minutes. And then for the second already, you know what to do. Equals to second, and then the end time minus the start time, and that's 20 seconds. So for the rest of them, the last one there, the last example, I'll simply do like this, select them all, then I drag it down and formula. So we can tell that between 9:50 and 10:23, we have 0 hours, 33 minutes, and 25 seconds. That's very straightforward, right? So I'm going to move to the next one. Real quick, no time. Now, the next one is very, very interesting as well. It gets interesting as we progress. Now, we're still dealing with time values now. Time values, we are using at the count of hours, minutes, and seconds between two times. We're looking at the count of hours. We want to tell how many hours, how many minutes, how many seconds, and all of that. Okay, so we're looking at two times, and then we tell, okay, the difference in how many hours do we have, how many minutes do we have, how many seconds do we have. Okay, all right, so that's what we're going to do this time around. And like so, normally I'm going to erase what we have here so that we can follow along. And I'm going to bring this one down. I erase this one. I erase this one. Okay. Now, the start time is 10 a.m. and the end time is 5:30 p.m. Now, what's the number of hours that have been spent between those two times? If you want to find the number of hours between those two times, what are you going to do? So you say number of hours between those two times. For hours, what are we going to do? I'll simply say open brackets like so. Okay. The end time, sorry, equals to sign first. Open bracket, the end time, okay, minus the start time. Okay. Then I close bracket. Then times what? 24. End time. All right, sorry for that technical glitch. Now, remember what we're trying to achieve. We're looking at, we want to count how many hours between the start date and then the end date, all right? Start date and end date, we want to tell how many hours between those two. Well, what I'm going to do here is equals to, all right? Normally, the end date, I'm going to open bracket first. The end date minus the start date, close bracket, multiply by what? 24. Now, what we have here is in what? 12. This format here is in time format. I don't want it to be in time format. I'm going to give it a general format. So I'm going to come here and choose general format and give it the time in what? 7.5. So it's telling me that we have between those two times we have 7.5 hours have been spent. All right. So now this is kind of like 7.5 hours. Now, I don't want it to be just 7.5 hours. I want it to be kind of like, I want it to be a whole number, right? So that's why we're moving to the complete hours here. We are going to be using a function called the int function, all right? We are not just looking at, okay, before I even explain that, why did I multiply this by 24? Because 24 hours make one day, all right? So looking at this is between the day 10 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. So I simplify the difference between both and multiply by 24. So it gives me what? 7.5 hours. So I can say, okay, that between this start and this end date, we've used start, and this is not date, this is time, I beg. Oh, sorry. Did I just use pigeon? It happens. Start time. End time. All right. All right, so between the start time and end time, we have 7.5 hours, and then that's just it. But we want to approximate it. Then we're going to be looking at the complete hours. We want to tell the complete number of hours that we've used between 10 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. Now, this is where I'm going to be using a function equals to int. Now, what does the int function do? The int function rounds a number down to the nearest integer. I'm going to be rounding down the number. I want to round down the hour to the nearest integer. So I select this int function here, like this, like so, and then I open bracket. I open another bracket inside where I can find the difference between the end time minus the start time. Okay, then I close bracket. That said, I now multiply by 24. And then I close bracket and I enter. So you can see that we have 7 hours between those two, right? So this is like a kind of like an approximate. We don't want to put in that extra minute. You know that this 5 here, dot 5 here is talking about the minute. We are not looking at the minutes. We are just looking at the complete hours between the start time and the end time. So we have 7 hours here. How about the minutes here? We're going to do the same thing. We're going to be using the int function as well. So I say equals to the int. The int only helps to round up a number down to its nearest integer. So I select the int, then I open bracket, and then I open another bracket again, so that I'm going to find the difference between the end time minus the start time, and I close the bracket. Now I'm having this bracket inside times what? For the minute. For the minute, this is very interesting. Now open your eyes now. There are 1,444 minutes in one day. So that's why, since I'm looking for the minutes now, I'll be multiplying whatever time difference, the time difference here in the bracket, the time difference in this bracket by 1,444. 1,440 minutes, because 1,440 minutes makes one day. So I say 1,440, and I close bracket. Now, this one inside the AG3 cell minus the AF3 cell, whatever value is there in between that bracket is being multiplied by the 1,440. And then those two are now multiplied within that bracket. And then the integer will now return the round figure of whatever we have there. So we enter. So we can tell that we have 450 minutes. All right. So between 10 a.m. and 5:30 p.m., there are 450 minutes. All right, how about for the seconds? Real quick, you know my guess already. I say the int again. Remember that the int function only helps to round up the number to the nearest integer. So you should learn how to be using your bracket like this. I open bracket int, I open another bracket because I'm looking at the difference between the end time minus the start time, and then I close bracket. This time I'm going to be multiplying by what? 86,400. Now, 86,400 is the number of seconds that we have in a day. So 86,400 seconds makes one day. So I'll simply say 86,400 seconds. All right, then I close brackets and I enter. So we can tell that between 10 a.m. and 5:30 p.m., 27,000 seconds have been spent so far. This is very, very cool. This is really, really cool, I must say, isn't it?